the rest of the games from week 2 in the NFL with our speedy week 2 NFL recap, where we each dissect one game apiece. We do it in 60 seconds or less. And Kevin, I'm going to start things off with you as last Thursday night, the Packers beat the Commanders 27-18.
Dude, Cass, I think Jaden Daniels is in for that year 2 rookie slump. He looked awful. And I get it. It's Micah Parsons, short week, rookie right tackle. Your second game in the NFL, you go against Micah Parsons on partial snaps. So he's coming in, he's always rested. The biggest thing with this Packers team is, can the offense hold up? Can the offense last a shootout? I mean, they're like Micah Parsons said, you put up 20 points, we'll get you the W. Can this team consistently stay with, we just saw Jaden Reed go down, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson still not back. So can this offense hold up while this team comes together? So Commanders lost. It was an ugly L. They made it look competitive towards the end, but are we in for a second-year rookie slump? So, Toddy, I'm going to swing it to you next. The LA Rams survive a close game with the Titans. The score doesn't say it was close, but there was a minute in that game where the Rams were losing to the Titans. What were your thoughts on that game?
I think the Titans are a very frisky, formidable team that can probably, if the game was 3 quarters, maybe it would have went a different route. But I just think what happened is the Rams figured out a way. Puka Nacua went nuclear in this game. And I think how it's showing that Cam Ward is a rookie quarterback. The touchdown pass that he had was insane, where he threw it all the way across his body. It's an absolutely big no-no. But when you have a talent like Cam Ward, you could do things like that. But I think they'll probably advise him to never do that ever again. I think the Rams' defense is a little bit underrated. They're young, but I do think Jared Verse is starting to come into his own a little bit. I do think it was just a tougher environment. It was a little bit more heightened up for the Titans. Their home opener with their new quarterback, so they were a little bit more giddy than normal. So that's why you kind of saw them staying within that 5.5 point spread. But ultimately, the Rams are the better team and ended up getting the 33-19 victory. And I thought Stafford looked really good. At the end, we saw some flashes of Devontae Adams making things happen. Obviously, Puka Nacua is the engine for that offense. So I don't think it was really a surprise of what the outcome was for this game.
Definitely. And Shaun, I'll just keep going since we're already in the order. I'll just keep, putting my producer hat on, see if I can do it. Cass, the Ravens bounced back after the week 1 loss and beat the Browns 41-17.
Yeah, first off, man, fuck you, Derrick Henry. Okay, because who was it? Denzel Ward was talking that shit. Like, somebody asked him, "What's it like to attack Derrick Henry?" He's like, it ain't nothing, bro. And then Derrick Henry gave us that look. Okay, I guess we're gonna see on Sunday. Well, we didn't see shit. We didn't see a goddamn. So we didn't know. I guess we ain't gonna see. So shout out to my bank account because I lost some money. But yeah, I mean, it's same old song and dance. Okay, it's the Browns versus the Ravens. The Ravens are the powerhouse in that division. They have been for a very, very long time. It's always been them or the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's never been the Browns. What was it? 3 or 4 years ago? That was the only division football in the history, or the second time in history, or something like that. Every team finished with a positive record, or I think maybe one team, a positive record. So, I mean, that's about the most I've ever seen out of the Browns. But I mean, come on, like you got the Flacco's return game against the Ravens, and you got Jerome Ford, Jerry Jeudy, got Myles Garrett. I guess, but. I mean, this game ended up exactly like it was supposed to. Like, kind of just chalk it up to where it's like they didn't even have to put up that many points on them. But it's like, I mean, what do you do when you're a big bro and little bro comes home from school and you got all this energy and you know what I'm saying, little bro steps with the big bro. You give him a wedgie, you give him a noogie, and send him on his way. So you shout out to the Ravens, man, for going in there and doing what they were supposed to do. Nothing to really say about that game. The Ravens should have crushed them.
So, Shaun, in the Mac Jones era, we got to see him go 1-0, lead the San Francisco 49ers to a victory 26-21. Second week where you guys just keep on scraping by. What do you think? Is Mac Jones the guy now?
All right, so the 49ers beat the Saints 26-21 in New Orleans. To answer your question, Kevin, no, Mac Jones is not the guy. They paid Brock Purdy to be the guy, but Mac Jones has elevated his trade stock, and we appreciate him for that. It's only been one game. Brock Purdy might come back in week 3. So if it's a one-game sample size, I am more than happy with that. And all these teams that have injured quarterbacks, just like the 49ers, they may be getting desperate for a backup. And, hey, you can call us for Mac Jones. I have to give credit where it's due. McCorkle Jones, as Jaevon likes to say, is full government. Mac Jones, he played extremely well in this game and genuinely surprised me. I was confident in him coming into this game. I picked him for one of my FanDuel daily fantasy teams, and he went off. He was cheap, and he went off, and I appreciate him for that. But since we're on the subject of Mac Jones, Brock Purdy might come back on Sunday, and so this may be my only opportunity to give respect and show credit where it's due. I have to just show you guys a clip, and for the audio-only listeners, you'll hear it, but I got to show you guys a clip from April 2021. I should have been a better producer and had it loaded up on the screen, but I got it on my phone right now. This is a clip from April 2021 on the day of the 2021 NFL Draft when the 49ers were picking third after they moved up and traded picks with the Miami Dolphins. All the rumors, all the reports was that the 49ers moved up to take Mac Jones, who ended up dropping to 15 in New England. And the Niners, I think, had the 11th pick in that draft. And so they could have just stayed at 11 to get Mac Jones. And so I just didn't understand it. Ultimately, they go with Trey Lance. But this was my reaction in real time to the 49ers drafting Trey Lance. And this is a Snapchat video, so forgive me if it's not the best quality. But I thought about this when I saw Mac ball out on Sunday, and I know I'm going over my minute, but I just feel like this has to be shared. Hold on.
San Francisco 49ers select Super Bowl, here we come.
I was just so excited that it was not Mac Jones. And, you know, now here he is 4 years later as the 49ers backup, and he played extremely well on Sunday in New Orleans. And to finish up, I just got to read his stat line. 26 of 39, he's completing 66% of his passes for 279 yards, 3 touchdowns. The most important stat, 0 interceptions. If he threw 1 pick in this game, the 49ers likely lose to the Aints, arguably the worst team in the NFL. And so credit where it's due. I didn't want the 49ers to take McCorkle Jones 4 years ago. I didn't understand why they would have moved up if he was the guy to pick. They ultimately go with Trey Lance. He can't stay healthy. Now he's a Charger. But, you know, Mac Jones got the job done on Sunday, and I had to give credit where it was due because 4 years ago I was celebrating the 49ers not drafting him, and now he's a 49er, and he played extremely well on Sunday. So got to give him credit where it's due. As Kevin, we're tossing it back to you on this one as the Bills beat the Jets 30-10.
I was a believer. I was fooled. I saw week 1. I said the Jets are back, baby. It's time. And then 5 passes in, Justin Fields takes a hit, and then it's Tyrod Taylor, and the ship just crumbles. Every year we see the Jets, you know, I say it's an emotional roller coaster being a Jets fan. You know, there's a lot of highs, but there's a whole fucking lot of lows. Garrett Wilson, Justin Fields, Ohio State reunion week 1. They almost beat the Aaron Rodgers return game, coming off that hype of week 1 to see them kind of crumble like this, and now Justin Fields is going to be out for week 3. Can Tyrod Taylor, you know, this is the episode about backup quarterbacks. Tyrod Taylor has made a career of it. Can he figure it out? Josh Allen and the Bills put belt to ass. It was expected. I was hoping a lot closer of a game. James Cook is showing why he deserved that money. And Josh Allen, even with a broken nose, coming out one play, get some tissue, going back to the next play, throwing a touchdown. this Bills team is going to be legit. And seeing them play like this when the Chiefs are playing like this, it's not bad to say that the Bills are the best in the AFC.
All right, Jaevon. Now let's swing it to another AFC East battle as the Patriots beat the Dolphins 33-27.
Tyreek Hill got a 30-yard pass.
Woo!
That's good news, guys.
Fantasy owners.
Every fantasy owners, do not panic. I would trade Tyreek Hill yesterday. I think what Drake may look really good in this game. I played against him in fantasy, so I would know. You saw him kind of, spreading the ball out a lot, getting into a bunch of different receivers. I thought May ran a couple of touchdowns. And Drake may play really good in this game. I am starting to have a lot of concerns about the Dolphins and where they are currently as a franchise, what their head coaching situation is going to look like. You just heard all the rumblings early in the you were getting red flags in the offseason training camp and just kind of wondering where everyone's head's at. Tua is just a hit away from being out for the year. We all know his situation with concussions. You're hearing, rumblings from guys like Jordan Schultz who said, watch out for Tyreek Hill in trade conversations. I think the Steelers was a team. The Chiefs were another team to kind of look out for. So Devon Achane, fantasy guys, looked all right in this game too as well. But, they just have a lot to work on. There's not one thing in particular that they need. And, in past years, this team just looked really crisp. Tua looked, if he was accurate, the team would kind of just flourish and the offense would be able to score points. But right now it just seems like there's a lot more than football going on with that organization. And it's showing on the field. They're kind of letting a lot of the things off the field leak into on-field play. And it's affecting what their team looks like. It's affecting how the defense is giving up a bunch of points, play calling. You got it. You can name it. And these are talented guys, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Like last year, we were saying they were one of the best duos, wide receiver duos in football. And now it's just like, Tua's not skipping passes, and it's just looking very unpleasant. And they are playing against the Buffalo Bills on Thursday Night Football, and the line opened up at 10.5. I believe it's at 13.5 now. So people are I think it's gonna be a massacre on Thursday Night Football. It'll get boring real fast. So the Dolphins, man, I don't know. Are the Dolphins gonna be a top 5 pick? They're gonna have a top 5 pick by the end of the year. That's something that you can definitely
Lenore Sellers, Garrett Nussmeier.
So we'll see.
Well, as Kaz likes to say with the Dolphins and their off-the-field activities, Mike McDaniels grew up in Colorado. He likes the snow, and we'll leave it there. Now, Kaz, when it comes to the NFC East, the Cowboys won a thriller against the Giants, 40-37 in overtime.
Insane game.
Cowboys suck, bro. They suck, bro. I don't care how they looked against us week 1. We didn't have our best player on defense in week 1. Week 1 looks weird, usually more often than not. So I'm not worried about that. But you let New York come into your house, and you guys never lose to the Giants. And I know it's almost, but you legitimately almost lost to the Giants. Like it actually got to the point to where you guys didn't win that game. They lost that game. That's not a good thing. Like, Dallas should have played one of the most just terrible games of their lives in order for me to really give them, any sort of leeway when it comes to that game. But they didn't play I don't really have their stats, up like right now, but I know for a fact, watching the game, I know Javonte Williams found the end zone. I know George Pickens, I believe he found the end zone as well. They put up, 40 points. So guys were scoring, you know what I mean? There was opportunities. And when it comes to that Dallas defense, you got Trevon Diggs there. I was told he's Mr. Lockdown, one of the best corners in the league. Malik had something to say about that. I understand you ain't got the Ron Bland back yet or whatever, but regardless though, you got the run stuffer, old boy from goddamn Green Bay. Can't even think of his name right now. So it's like, you know, I keep seeing Cowboys Twitter talk about our defense isn't that bad. Our defense isn't that bad. You know, our run D actually did their job. You're making excuses for how bad your defense is. You're scratching and clawing at any which way you can make your team sound better than what they are. You guys suck, man. The Cowboys suck. The Giants are not a good team. You had Russ out there putting up, I think he put up more number. Russ is probably a top 2 quarterback in the league right now. And it's because of y'all.
He leads the
that
league
man
in passing.
So he's number 1. He's number 1 right now. Man, hell no.
God damn,
hell no. Made him look like, I bet Russ probably one of Russ's best games of his career.
That was his career passing high.
Man, the Cowboys fucking suck, bro. They suck bad. I love saying it out loud, man. Kudos to them for winning the game. I did pick them to win because, like I said, historically they do beat the Giants, and it is what it is. But damn, the Cowboys might only win 9 games this year, bro. And that's
bad.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. If that's how you look against the Giants, what you gonna do on the road against anybody else? The Giants are probably a bottom 4 or 5 team this year. Yep, I'm saying it. I bet they probably go on a streak of losing 4 to 5 games. They definitely losing this week. So I mean, they play KC on Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday night. It's in New York. It don't matter. It don't matter. So they got KC, and I'll be damned if you think KC starting off 0-3. I'll be goddamned. So New York about to start off 0-3. Cue them up for getting a top 4 pick, bro. I'm not even sure they even got their pick this year, but if they do, they might have a top 4 pick. Dallas, you suck though.
Yeah, the Cowboys had the Giants feeling so good that rookie Cam Scattaboo, Rio Linda's finest, was grabbing Russell Wilson by the jersey and by the neck and like pulling him in and like, yeah, you're killing it. Like rookie Cam Scattaboo was out there doing that to Russell Wilson because the Giants were feeling so good about themselves. So that was it. That was definitely interesting. So now I want to get to this next game, and I'll take this one. As the Seahawks beat the Steelers 31-17 in Pittsburgh. And before I give my thoughts on this one, I wanted to highlight a couple of comments from Instagram as Kyle McClanahan, who is in our Stats Over Politics Fantasy Football League, he says Seahawks top 2D this season. I don't know if I go that far, but you know, I respect the bold proclamation there. And then I also wanted to highlight one other comment from our guy, former co-host of this podcast, none other than Mr. Gary Singh, who just says, Steelers! Steelers lost, Gary. They lost by 2 touchdowns to the Seahawks. Come on, Gary. And one other thing from Gary, he also popped on the YouTube comments, and he said regarding Jaden Daniels, says, hope not, I need Jaden in fantasy with a crying emoji. Well, we'll
he's talking about Jaden Reed.
I thought he was talking about Jaden Daniels when it came to the potential sophomore slump.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Thank you for clarifying that, Kevin. But back to Steelers. Come on, Gary. Like they lost 31-17 against the Seahawks. Like the Seahawks may have a top 10 defense in the league this year. I'm not going to go as far as Kyle said to say that they're top 2, but for the Steelers to look pretty good against the Jets. And now I understand it's the Jets, but Aaron Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns in that season opening win. And for him to come back in this game and greatly struggle, I mean, Aaron Rodgers was 18-33 for a touchdown and 2 interceptions. He was looking like 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers rather than MVP Aaron Rodgers. And the last thing I have to say about this game is I'm looking for my friend Keith right now because he's the same guy who came on this podcast and said that the Steelers were going to go 8-9. And then after that week 1 win against the Jets, he said, we're going to the Super Bowl and we're going to win it. We have MVP Rodgers. The Steelers are going to win the Super Bowl. Keith, you're tagging me on Twitter in this Michigan-Ohio State slander, but I haven't heard a peep from you when it comes to the Steelers. Where are you, Keith? We need to put you on a milk carton. You've gone missing. I'm just waiting for you to pop up in my text messages because last week the Steelers were winning the Super Bowl. Now they just lost by 2 touchdowns at home to the Seattle Seahawks. Congratulations to the Pittsburgh Steelers for another great season. Now, keeping things moving here on episode 158 of Stats Over Politics. Kevin, I'm tossing it to you next with an NFC North battle as the Lions beat the Bears 52-21.
Well, Ben Johnson, I'm sorry that you're stuck with Caleb Williams. I came on here last week and said, is it time to have that conversation? Are we getting how many more weeks are we going to give Caleb? There was a factor cap. There was a this or that last year where Toddy chose Joe Flacco over Caleb Williams. Toddy, it's your boy. The Michael Jordan theme music. We thought after the week 1 performance against the Packers that the Lions just were cooked. And then they play the Bears, and they do the cooking. Amon-Ra St. Brown dominated this game. And it came down to the very last second of the first half. They get down there. They're able to spike it. They said, fuck a field goal. Fuck you, Ben Johnson. We're going to go for a touchdown. And after that, it was straight belt to ass. Jameson Williams. We finally got to see Jahmyr Gibbs play. David Montgomery got in the end zone. So now it's nice to see the Lions say, we don't need a coordinator. We have the weapons. We're going to figure it out. Chicago, you fucking stink. Cass said the Cowboys stink. Chicago, you stink. Rumble Dudes, they look good, though. So that's one positive thing to see. But I told you guys, Taylor Bassett, you don't sign a backup for no reason. You give Caleb 2-3 more weeks, and then we saw it with Bryce Young. We've seen it before where the number 1 pick says, come hold this clipboard for a little bit. So we'll see. But the Lions put belt to ass.
Jaevon, I spared you from that game right there. I was thinking about making you talk about that game, but I spared you. And I left it to Kevin for that one. So if you could, Toddy, the Colts beat the Broncos 29-28 in a bit of a thriller there in Indy.
Hey, this game was probably like a sneaky game of the best game of the week. If you would have watched how this whole entire game played out, let's just say Jonathan Taylor is back. I do think he is contending for the top running back in the league just based off this just 2 games. But he's been out of control. Tyler Warren. Dropped him in my fantasy. Ball knowers know about Tyler Warren at Penn State and what he is going to bring to this franchise this year. At least for this year, he's going to be on my fantasy team, starting tight end. Mac Jones. Let's get the elephant out of the room. I think he might be back. Now it is very, very, very small sample size, but the last time the Colts started at 2-0 was like 19. Or was it not 19? I think it was
Daniel Jones. You mean Daniel Jones, aka Danny Dimes?
Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Let's get it right, Shaun. The Colts might be back. I don't know what it is. Steichen is having these boys. The Colts never had a bad team. They just didn't have a quarterback. Alec Pierce is making plays. You're seeing Tyler Warren get involved. Jonathan Taylor is rejuvenated. They have a guy who I think a lot of people know, Adonai Mitchell, I feel like is a secret weapon, is a dog. Michael Pittman's out there. The defense is good. They have a good defense. The Broncos, a lot of people are picking the Broncos to win that division. The AFC West, they're like, the Broncos are going to do it. Hey, Bo Nix is looking a little bit shaky, a little bit turnover happy these past couple of weeks. And Sean Payton has to reel those turnovers a little bit in. I get it, it's a 2nd-year plan. So I think the Broncos will be fine. The ending of this game, how it ended, Indiana Jones drives down the field basically to get them within field goal range to kick I don't even think it was like, it was like 50.
It was like I think it was a 60. I think it was a 60-yarder.
It was
and
like
then
it was.
You can explain the rest.
They line up to kick it.
Yeah.
He shanks it wide right. Broncos fans are rejoicing, run out on the field. We won. Hold on, guys. Let's come back. We got a flag on the play. Leverage. Somebody is like pushing themselves up against the long snapper. You can't do that. That's a 15-yard penalty. So they have to bring everybody back, and just Bronco fans you see the fans on just how quick the emotions turn, and just you literally go from to right just super quick, and then you got to line back up and kick another field goal. guy nails a walk-off field goal to win the game. It's literally it's that short span of time of being a 1-1 team to a 2-0 team. The Indianapolis Colts are 2-0, and they're leading the division in the AFC South. How many of us picked the Colts to win the division?
Oh man, I think we all had them in last.
I think y'all went Texans.
I picked the Jags to win it, but it was either it was Jags, it was the Texans. I mean, nobody would have thought. I mean, when we heard the news that Anthony Richardson was benched and was not going to be making it, we're like, uh-oh. Daniel Jones is coming in. It might be the best thing for the Colts currently right now. They're 2-0. They're sitting pretty. But last year, I said the Saints were back after 2 games. So they were winning the division. You got Derek Carr. He was doing the Michael Jackson in the end zone. He was moonwalking. Now he's retired, and the Saints won 5 games. And it's just – so, I mean, I don't know if it'll be that crazy of a drop-off, but, I mean, the Colts look legit. They're winning they got the lead on the division now, so watch out for the Colts.
The Colts do look legit, and Jaevon, I have to do this just because you highlighted your fantasy team. I don't know how you're doing in your other league, but in the Stats Over Politics Fantasy Football League, in which you said that you were going to go undefeated, I got to turn off the blur on my screen.
Why are we doing this right now?
That's
what are we doing?
0-2. 0-2. 0-2.
What are we doing here?
Hey man, you wanted to hey if you want to talk about your fantasy football team on this podcast and they're 0-2, that's the shit that I'm gonna pull. You guys can do the same thing to me, but at least I'm 1-1. Kevin's 2-0. So if Kevin was talking about his fantasy team right now, I'd be like, all right, you're 2-0. Respect. 0-2. 0-2. I gotta start taking the blur off of my screen when I want.
It's okay, Shaun. Don't worry, I'll pull it up.
Long season.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
I think this man said 0-2 15 times. He said 0-2, 0-2, 0-2.
It's just because it was just because right after our draft, like seconds after our draft, Jaevon screenshot his team, put it on his Instagram story, and said, "I'm going undefeated." So this is the treatment he's going to get this season.
I don't want to go too long on this, Cavs, but this is Buddy's second time playing fantasy football. I just want to throw that out.
Whoa, ever?
He had 6 one time last year. Now he think he laying pipe.
Wait, this your second time ever?
Yes.
Ever.
Oh Lord.
He held out for so long. I've known Jaevon since we were in middle school. I've been trying to get him to play basically since then, and he held out for so long. We finally convinced him last year.
My old ass over here, I got like damn near 15 years in the game, brother. You
He's
know
a
what I'm saying?
He's a vet.
Yeah, I got 12. I got 12. I've been playing since 2013.
I might be seeing ghosts out there, Kev. I don't know.
All right, guys. In all fun, let's start to wrap this segment up. Kaz, I'm throwing it to you next. I don't know what you'll say about this game, but the Cardinals beat the Panthers 27-22.
I was hoping I didn't get this.
Damn. I got make it brief. Panthers stink. They suck really bad. I did notice a lot of sports bettors on this game were like picking the Panthers like to win. Like this was like the upset of the week. And I was like, huh? And when I say a lot of sports bettors, just scrolling through Twitter, I follow so much. I tweet about betting a lot, and I put, I follow, people that bet and stuff like that. So just a part of my algorithm. But I kept seeing that on a few people's like predictions, and you guys know I do my own predictions. So I'm like, who on the road against Arizona? Who do they even have right now? I'm like, man, hell no. So I mean, I was just shocked. I was shocked that was even supposed to be a close game. I think they did cover the spread. I think it was 4.5. Did they cover?
Yeah.
Yeah, they covered. But either way, I was like, man, ain't no damn way. Now, another thing, too, is the Cardinals do got to find a way to get Marvin Harrison more involved. But that's kind of been the same old story as it was all season last year. It's like he had a handful of games where like he balled out. But when he didn't ball out, it was like almost like some A.J. Brown type shit where it's like there's no numbers there. The only difference is that's like all they got going for them in Arizona. So you got to give him the ball. shout out James Conner, solid back. Trey McBride, he's the top tight end or whatever. But when it comes to playmaking ability, Marvin Harrison has to be your guy. He is, without a doubt, your best offensive weapon. Just period. So he's a little frustrated, I think. Kyler kind of sounded a little condescending on when he got interviewed, and he was all like, what's the issue with you find a connection with Marvin Harrison? He's like, Marv, some days he's going to get 10 catches, 10 targets, and some days he's going to get 3. I can't really, help whoever's is open. And what else he said? He said, there's only so much ball I can spread around. So he kind of sounded a little pissed off about that. But Kyler, he's a little hoe sometimes, man. So he's always got a little snarkiness to him whenever he gets questioned. Like you deserve to be questioned, bro. Yeah, you deserve to be questioned. You're not some god. This isn't high school anymore. So yeah, but nah, they won the game, and the Panthers stink. So it was another game that was expected.
Yeah, Kyler Murray should have gone and played baseball for my Sacramento Athletics after they wasted the 9th overall pick in the draft on him. What a swing and a miss, pun intended. As now, guys, I'm going to get to this last game. On Sunday Night Football, it was a bit of a stinker. The Falcons beat the Vikings 22-6 in Minnesota. And the biggest storyline coming out of this game is that J.J. McCarthy has a sprained ankle, and he is now going to be out 2 to 4 weeks. Stepping in as the Vikings starting quarterback, not Sam Darnold, because as we know, he signed with the Seattle Seahawks, and that's a question that we'll pose in the future, whether or not that was a mistake. But now stepping in at quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, none other than Mr. Carson Wentz, someone that my fellow 2 co-hosts know all too well as Philadelphia Eagles fans. And it'll be interesting. Carson Wentz, as a backup for the Chiefs, he looked okay, small sample size. But my biggest takeaway from this game is that the Falcons, they could win the NFC South. I know we were talking a lot earlier about the Buccaneers and the fact that the Buccaneers could easily run away with the NFC South. I mean, the Falcons' lone loss right now is to the Buccaneers, and they beat a playoff team from 2024 22-6 on their home field, and they basically controlled this entire game. Bijan Robinson, as we already knew, he's that fucking dude. 22 carries, 143 yards. I remember seeing a stat at the end of the game where they put a stat on the screen, and it was like total yards, Bijan Robinson, 168, Minnesota Vikings, 130. That basically summarizes the game right there. Bijan Robinson beat the Minnesota Vikings. It'll be interesting to see what the Vikings do without J.J. McCarthy over these next 2 to 4 weeks.